All right, so here's our first view. We've got our diaphragmatic hepatic view. So I am up underneath the xiphoid, and I've got the tail of my probe kind of laying more flat against his abdomen, and the probe is facing cranially up underneath the ribs. So in this image, you can actually see on the left is going to be cranial, on the right is going to be caudal. So cranially, I'm actually going to see the diaphragm, and on the other side of the diaphragm, you see that nice beating structure. We've got the heart on the other side. So I'm actually getting a view of the thoracic cavity. So if there was pleural effusion, I would be able to see that in this view. Or, because I'm actually getting the heart in here too, I'd actually be able to check to see if there's any pericardial effusion. So I do not see any of that, which is good, because this is my own dog, like I mentioned before. So that's good to see. All right, so if you can see kind of the far field down there is going to be kind of all the way up in the thoracic cavity. So kind of right in the middle of the screen is going to be the liver. If you remember talking about our knobology stuff, I've got my focal point. So you see the arrow right there. I can actually change that a little bit higher in the area of the liver that I want to see now. So this area from here to here is all liver. And you see this nice anechoic structure, circular. What we're looking at there is actually the gallbladder. So that's what I want to see on here. If you think about the gallbladder sits right between that right middle and quadrate lobes of the liver. So I am kind of just right of midline is where I'm aiming my probe at to see the gallbladder. And I like to get a good view where I talk about the gallbladder kind of kissing the diaphragm. So kind of coming, mwah, mwah, mwah. So the diaphragm is going to be this hyperechoic or white line that we see right there. And that makes sense because I've got liver, white line for the diaphragm. And on the other side of that was our actual thoracic cavity where we saw that heart beating a second ago. So I've got liver from here to here, gallbladder. Diaphragm is hyperechoic because you think about air is going to give us a very hyperechoic or very bright image when we're looking at it. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but we kind of use these terms are hyperechoic, anechoic, hypoechoic. So echoes is the echoic part. So how many echoes or the strength of the echoes coming back? Is it hyper or really bright or white? Gives us hyperechoic. Hypoechoic is going to be dark, or anechoic is going to be the absence of echoes is anechoic. So fluid is going to be anechoic. Hard structures like a stone or bone is going to be really bright or hyperechoic, as well as air is kind of an artifact that makes it look so bright. So here to here is liver, diaphragm. So this is a great diaphragmatic hepatic view. But remember, if I find that view, I'm not totally done. I want to fan dorsally, fan ventrally, go cranially, and go caudally, and making sure I don't see any fluid anywhere in this region. And I don't see any pockets of fluid, so this would be a score of 0. If you're kind of looking around here too, what we're seeing, I mentioned that from here to here is liver. If you notice, just adjacent to the liver, this is stomach. So I can see wall layering. White is the gas within the lumen of the stomach. So you can see that right there. And very superficially, we're actually starting to get spleen too. So spleen is popping up from here to here. Spleen is typically hyperechoic compared to the liver. So the liver is a little bit darker and the spleen is going to be slightly lighter. If I wanted to look at the spleen, if you remember what I do, I'm always changing frequency and I'm always changing my depth. So I am going to decrease my depth to see more of the spleen. So here's spleen up here. My focal point is past where the spleen is. So I'm going to change my focal position. So now I can see the spleen a little bit better. So there's a nice shot of the spleen. And if I wanted to, I can even increase my frequency probably a little bit too. So I just went from an 8 to a 9. I'm using a curvilinear probe right now. And that's all the spleen. Perfect. So we got spleen, stomach coming in right here, that gas-filled area. And then just cranial to that is going to be liver. Drop my depth down a little bit so you can see more of the liver. Get a good view, coming more towards midline and to the right. Oop, he's just tightening his little belly up a little bit on me. There we go. And then we can see that gallbladder popping into view again. Perfect. So it's going to be our first view, our diaphragmatic hepatic, our number 1 view, 12 o'clock, subxiphoid, pointing that probe cranially. Get to see the liver, get to see the diaphragm. If it's a big dog, you won't see the heart, but you will see some areas of the thoracic cavity that you will see down deep to the diaphragm, that you can get an idea if there's any pleural effusion present, or if you can see the heart, we can check for pericardial effusion too. Awesome. So that's view number one.